Alright guys, well Josh Timer had asked about whose 574 this was, so I figured I'd make a video. If I would reply, it would have been too long. There's a whole story behind it, so I figured I would just make a video and give you an overview of the International 574 that's here. This tractor was original to this farm. This was what they used back in the 70s and 80s when they had the dairy cows. It had a loader on it. I guess it did a lot of the loader work, manuring out, that kind of stuff. They'd used it on the baler too, as far as I understood. They had an international baler. So it was original to the farm. And then sometime in the early 80s, the original owner here had passed away of cancer. Similar situation to what happened with my grandfather. And they had an auction here, and they had auctioned off a lot of the equipment on the farm. But they kept this, I guess because it had a loader. The guy's wife had figured that she'd be able to plow snow, or it'd be something handy for her to hang on to. So it never got sold at the auction. I know they had an 886 International that they sold at the auction, and quite a bit of the equipment. But this stayed here. And then in the 80s, when she had rented the farm out to another guy, she had told him to use this tractor, I guess, and so it gets used. He ended up taking the loader off. I think he has 4 or 5 574s, so it was nice for haymaking. You didn't have to unhook anything. So here it sits. It's over here now. This guy that farmed the place from the 80s up until, I don't know, I guess 3, 4, 5 years ago, he had it and used it, and then he retired. And I guess the lady that owned the place had given it to him. I guess that's the story. He had it overhauled a couple of years ago. I think it was an in-frame overhaul. This is the D239 engine, same as the 685. I'm pretty sure it was an in-frame, but I could be wrong on that. So that was done to it. 5388 hours. So it's not real high hours. Has a new radiator, and when I was working for the international dealer, I actually brought him this radiator that he had ordered, and I had delivered it to him. So I think that's the new radiator. Tires are getting down. And one nice thing, it has the bar axle, and that's what I look for in a lot of tractors. It's a lot easier moving your wheels with a bar axle than just the flanged axle. I do like that. One nice thing with this tractor, has 2 remote valves on the back, and his haybine actually has hydraulic tongue swing and hydraulic lift, so he needed the 2 valves. So I guess this was the hay mowing tractor, and he had said that this was the only one he left the 3-point arms on also. So he took the 3-point arms off all the other 574s, and I don't know what he had 3-point hitch, but at least one tractor had it on. And it's still hooked to this potato digger. I guess this was sold. Guy didn't come for it yet. So there it sits, the New Holland potato digger. And it was too low to the ground to just hook to the drawbar. So we had to put it in this 3-point hitch to be able to pick it up to get enough clearance there. So that's still sitting here. So I've offered to buy it just because it's original to the farm here. This was the tractor that they used, and it kind of has some other value to me because when my granddad had died of cancer back in the late 60s, he was only 38 years old. The guy that farmed this place had actually used this tractor over there to make hay. So this was over at on the home farm, and be something I'd like to buy to keep here just because it's original to the farm. The guy that owns it, like I say, he had overhauled it. He said he had $7,500 in it, somewhere in there. I don't remember. Could be. But It's sitting on a dealer's lot. I don't think it would bring 7,500. I'm thinking it's somewhere in the neighborhood of between 6 to 7 if I had to guess. Like I said, I could have bought a 674 for 6,500. Similar condition. But yeah, this is the International 574. I can't tell you the year because the serial number plate is completely rubbed off from your feet being here. It's totally rubbed away that I can't even make out any of the numbers. So as far as getting a year, I think it would be kind of difficult. There's another plate there. It might be an engine number, but can't really tell. So yeah, this is a pretty handy tractor. You see it's set narrow. It's set to 30-inch centers for corn. The last time we'd used it, it had some issue with the clutch, I think. It really, he was here, we were moving equipment around, and it was really grinding in the gears to get it into gear. So I'm not sure what's going on there with the clutch. I don't know, maybe it's from sitting. It has been sitting quite a while. Right now it's been about a month since it's been run. Even though it's his, I'll still try to run it a little bit to keep the battery charged up so it doesn't go dead on him. I've used it a few times. I can't get in the upper shed with my 685, the canopy and the roll bars in the way. You can't get under. For putting the hay elevator in and out, I can't get in and out. So it's handy for that. But yeah, it's sitting here. It's been a while since it's been started. Ooh, I think there's a bolt missing on the. This deck plate seems like it's ready to fall off. I think there's something going on there. So just see if it starts here. It's been, like I say, it's been probably a month and a half, 2 months since it's been run. So we'll just start it up here and see. And it starts right up. And it looks like it's charging, so I'll get the battery charged up a little bit. Tach's working. I don't know the fuel gauge, I don't know if it works or not, but it's on empty. I'll have to tell him if he comes to get it that the fuel gauge is down. Oil pressure gauge is working. Temperature gauge should work. And one thing with the 239 Noise engine, the German diesels, is they are pretty smoky until they get warmed up. That if you're running inside your shop, they tend to burn your eyes. So I don't really need to run it. It'll start for him. And I don't know how many hours were on it when he had started using it. He said it was in pretty rough shape. He had said he had done some work to the front end. And I don't know. I know those bushings can get wore in there. But I mean, it's really narrow. It's set as narrow as you can make it, basically. Yeah, even the dishes are in. So as far as being on a hillside, I'd probably try to widen it up a little bit, but that's what it is. It's kind of just sitting here for now, waiting for the guy to come get his potato digger. And it has the 540 PTO instead of the dual PTO. Some of them had dual PTO. I think he has one that has dual PTO. But it's nice having the 2 remote valves. It's not. I don't know how common it is to have 2 on these utility tractors. A lot of them do have it on account of a loader, but most of them that I see only have 1 remote valve. It doesn't look like one of the big drawbacks with these, this fuel tank tended to leak. You see how it's bolted right to the fender, and it's just like a pressed rivet, like a pressed fit, I should say. The tank, and then there's a wall against the fender. And then a lot of times from the fenders rattling or going through the field, that tends to work on it. I know we replaced many tanks when I was at the dealership. Just because of that issue. The 685 is the same way. Over time, they do get a tendency to leak and seep out through there. Looks like it has a pretty good gash in it already, but it's not leaking. And it has an oil leak underneath. I don't know if that's hydraulic or what that is. But Yeah, the 574s were pretty nice tractor. I see a lot more of them with the flanged axle versus the bar axle. So to find one with a bar axle is pretty nice. But yeah, these were the utility tractor of the 70s for International, so they run a long time. Like I say, the only drawback with these engines is that the antifreeze filter, with not having it on, you had to make sure you didn't have any corrosion in your engine. It's just one O-ring that seals the sleeve, and we had quite a few issues with them, depending on the maintenance. So, and you can tell, one of the places where I always look to see where they're wore out is the brake shaft. There is a grease fitting in there, but you can see over time the amount of play that gets in your pedals from wear. So yeah, just a quick video, guys, on an overview of a International 574. Hope to be able to buy it someday. I don't know if I ever will. Like I said, just for the sentimental value that it was original to the farm here, and it's what they used back in the day, and it was used at my granddad's farm. So I'll keep you posted. So thanks for watching.